Welcome back. It's your best friends. It's Austin and
It's Sean and
It's Sid.
hey, let's
I told
go.
y'all we would have a guest. I bet some people out there in the YouTube sphere who saw the last episode didn't believe me. They thought I was
Non
calling,
non non-believers.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
non-believers.
We had an episode like forever ago. Like I want to say it was like 20 episodes ago where we were like, yo, next week we got a guest lined up. And then the week after we were like, next week though, for real. And then like it just
Yeah, that
kept
was like
happening.
yeah, that was in the 30s, like
Yeah,
episode number 30. This is episode number 49, right?
I think so. 49 or
Yeah.
48.
So we're gonna get into a few things here in 49 or 48 or whatever the fuck it is. But
Getting close
yeah,
to the
dude,
year.
it's
Getting
been a
close to
minute.
that year mark. Um,
Well, how was your week, Sean?
my week was, I mean, we briefly talked about it, but it was long. Felt like it forever. Like yesterday, I thought it was Thursday, and like Monday and Tuesday feel like forever ago. Uh, but as far as like the content, it was all right. Hung out with some friends, did some work, the usual. Taught some drums last weekend.
Yeah, I saw you on Sunday and Saturday and Friday
Friday.
and
Wait, you saw me
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Yeah.
I did see you Tuesday.
Yes. Dope. How was your week?
Yeah, it was also long. I also thought it was Thursday yesterday, and I also thought it was Tuesday on Monday. And then I was really bummed because I just want to teach drums.
Weren't you didn't you have to do like exams and stuff for high school this week?
Yeah,
So you're
yeah.
probably chilling.
It's so long and so not eventful.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm
fair.
not super mad about it. It just was very long.
Yeah.
What about you, Sid? How was your week and or your forever? Because this is your first time ever on the podcast.
On the flip side of that coin, my week was very it felt very short. Went by very quick.
Nice.
Yeah, content wise it wasn't bad. Just trying to get into the swing of things with the new semester of classes and whatnot.
Nice.
But
What's
yeah.
your class that you're most excited for?
Uh
Concert band.
Hell no. Um Probably CAD. I'm having fun with CAD right now.
Nice. So it's like a whole CAD class, AutoCAD that
Yeah,
is, right?
yeah,
Bad.
yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. Is this CAD 2, CAD 1? What is it?
CAD 1. So just
Okay,
we're
cool.
skimming the basics of like a few different programs. So right now we're working on Adobe InDesign.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I just realized I don't know what you're studying. What are you studying?
product design.
Product design? Nice,
Yeah,
nice. That's cool. CAD seems pretty
yeah,
interesting. Everybody I've talked to has learned CAD has loved it, I feel like.
yeah. I
So
enjoy it. I
conceptually
enjoy
seems
it.
pretty cool. Nice. I like it.
That's like my dad's whole life. It's crazy. Dude, Sid, you shadowed my dad.
I did. I did.
What?
It was
Yeah.
Really?
awesome. I
Yeah.
loved it. He's a great dude.
Wait, like
He
an
is.
internship kind of thing?
Yeah,
That's pretty dope.
Pretty
Nice.
sick, man.
it was very very educational experience.
I like that.
Learned a
That's
lot.
what we like to hear. Heck
Austin,
yeah.
Austin, if you could go back to school, and you'd probably the answer to this question is you wouldn't, but if you could go back to school, what would you study? Like what if you could change what you studied, what would you study?
Oh man. I don't think I would change what I studied. I'm gonna not answer the question.
Okay.
Here's what I would change about my college
Experience.
career. What I would have changed is I probably would have uh, been more involved on campus and maybe not went and marched a group that was as far away as I did. I probably would have just stayed at Paradigm.
Okay.
I don't know because I did like learn a lot about myself and about drums, like leaving and going other places. But um, it did feel like mildly emptier. Like it felt like a more selfish time whenever I left to like basically go march a group where I knew almost no one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was for selfish reasons, so I'm okay with that. But I don't know. It just felt like a less connected time, like a more I don't know. I don't know the right word. Like I was a lone wolf.
Is it just because like you were spending so little time like forging the connections in like one place because you had to keep like transitioning between the two?
That might have been it. But I've always liked to like form connections with either people that were like way older than me or people that were younger than me. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Like it just in general throughout my life, I didn't really love like making connections with people that were my age. It's probably because of how I view relationships, and I view all relationships as having some form of a transactional component, probably. And it's not 100%. Some of them, yes, sure, it's 100%, but some of them, it's only like 5% or less. But I still view all of them as having a transactional component. So if I don't feel like I'm able to provide something to someone, I don't feel like I'm contributing that well to a friendship. So, and then opposite is true as well. If I don't feel like they're able to provide me something like a new perspective or something, then I don't value the friendship as much. So I think that's why I made a lot of really like deep connections with a lot of professors who I still talk to today, and then like a lot of deep connections with like high school students or private students that I had from that time. So no, but maybe. I
That's
don't think so,
that's fair.
but I can't go back and do it again.
I was kind of the same way, like in high school in particular. I remember like I don't know, my grade, like the people I graduated with, I did not know them very well at all. Like even the kids that were in band, like I was just not very close to them. I was very close to like kids much younger than me, and then also just like staff, or like when I was in eighth grade, like all the seniors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was kind of the
Oh
same way
yeah.
in that regard.
Sagan.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Haven't seen him
Um,
in a minute.
yeah. Uh, I don't think I would change anything though.
Okay.
I think I would just like prep more for like the specific next steps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like right after college, I had like a moment of time where I was like, damn, I really don't want to do any of that shit that I'm like prepped for.
Yeah.
You know? And then like toward the end of my college career, I was like, I actually don't even like want to do this. Like I enjoy it a lot, but I probably should not have gotten a degree in it. I probably should have switched like 5% of my focus over to this other thing and then gotten this other type of degree. But yeah.
That makes sense. If I went back and changed anything, I probably wouldn't have gone to the school that I went to. I still probably would have studied the same shit that I studied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's all.
I mean, I'm still in school right now, but uh, building off Austin's like being more involved around campus type thing. I feel like one of my like regrets, I guess, about high school was that I didn't do more extracurriculars. Like I feel like I just went to school and then went home and just I feel like my life was empty a lot of the time until like my senior year when I started like actually joining clubs and
You joined
doing
band
stuff
pretty
like that.
late, didn't you?
Yeah, I joined. Yeah, my first year was like senior year. I
Yeah,
did it
okay.
my junior year, but it
Gotcha.
was a
Doesn't
whole
count.
thing. Yeah, I was gonna
Dude,
say.
I have a
Forgot.
funny story about that. So that was
Forgot.
like prime COVID time, and everything was like really, I don't know. It was like hobbled together, like trying to be itself, but it was just a shell of its former self. And like the school that he went to that I taught at, I was just like, hey man, like you're doing great, but I just want to tell you that this is like
So
not how it
sorry.
normally is.
Dude, I
Yeah, I was just
remember this. Dude, I
I
remember
literally was
this.
like I'm very sorry for like how it feels right now. And I was like, you know what I mean? And he was just like, no. And I was like, okay, well, you'll understand someday. So I'm just gonna I still stand beside everything I just said, and you'll understand what I mean someday.
I think
I
I
someday I understood what you meant.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, at this point. I think it's noble that the people that were in band before COVID and continued to do it during that weird season continued to do it because if like
Yeah.
dude, if me and Devin were marching that year, we would have looked at each other and be like, nah.
Mm,
Nah.
it was so wild, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyway,
What a weird time.
all right. So to completely 180 the conversation. I have an article. Let's see if I have sharing permissions. Oh, Sean. All
Damn
right,
it.
everyone,
Well,
bully Sean in the comments. He
everyone
didn't
bully me.
give me sharing
Boo.
No,
permissions.
this was all a part
Yeah.
of my big plan because I'm about to give you a fact or fib.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm ready,
all
I'm
right,
ready, I'm
all
ready,
right,
I'm
all
ready,
right,
I'm
all
ready,
right,
I'm
all
ready.
right. You
Wait,
guys gotta
wait,
tell
wait, wait.
me if this statement is a fact or a fib.
Okay.
A cockroach can live for 9 days without its head before it finally dies of starvation.
Oh, I mean, I know the answer. Sid, you got an answer?
All right. Every time I like listen to these and I like think I know the answer, I'm like, oh, there's no way that this is anything but like a fact, or like there's no way this is like anything but a fib, and then I'm like completely wrong. So I don't. I'll go with fact. I'll go with fact.
Okay.
It's a fact.
Okay, let's go.
It is a fact. It is a fact. Yeah. Nice. Both y'all nailed it. I like it.
I hadn't seen that question before Sean presented it.
It was just somewhere in the back of your head.
It
That
was
piece of
somewhere back
knowledge.
there. I
Somewhere
did
back
study
there.
that in college. So
Fair
speaking of
You've
college,
now unlocked sharing privileges by answering my
let's-
tricky
all
fact or
right,
fib.
Start broadcast. Okay. I don't know if the broadcast started or not, but look at that right
Oh
that's
my
there, dude.
God.
crazy.
Dude,
That's
it's
crazy.
your home for private music lessons. If you want to streamline music journey with our seamless music lessons experience, you can go ahead and browse some instructors and buy some lessons. Okay, here we go. So Senator Josh Hawley says he'll introduce legislation to ban TikTok nationwide. First of all, look at this Chad, bro. Look at him, and he's being so aggressive with his pointing.
Really
He's
is.
got look,
His
he's got
pencil?
the dude. I don't even think that's a real pencil. Look, it's like
Dude,
AI
it's like
generated.
balancing. It's like balancing on
Yeah,
his hand. That's
it's
crazy.
very impressive. Yeah.
Wow. He looks like he was
Also,
good
look
at
at the
flip cup in college.
look at the Purell bottle right there. That's
Oh
beautiful.
yeah. Yeah,
All
that's
right,
good.
but then he's got the plastic water bottle. We love to see it. All right, keep it up. All right. So it says a similar bill was introduced by other lawmakers in the House and Senate in the last Congress, but it was not considered in either chamber. All right, let's see what the content says. Sid, remember we always do a website rating out of 10. So based on how junky or beautiful you think the website is, we'll rate it. All right, here's the dealio. Senator Josh Hawley. I don't know what state is MO. Am I just an idiot?
Montana?
I'm just gonna believe
Missouri?
you. All right.
All right.
I think it's probably Montana.
Okay.
He wants to ban it in the US. A tweet, of course, a tweet. He said China's backdoor into American lives. That's what TikTok is. It threatens our children's privacy as well as their mental health. Last month, Congress banned it on all government devices, and now I will introduce legislation to ban it nationwide. He says,
Worldwide.
and then he said in a whoops. And then he said in a separate tweet that he plans to introduce the measure on Wednesday. What my bill does is it specifically goes after TikTok. It bans it. It doesn't ban any other app. It also doesn't, but it also requires a comprehensive report to Congress on the national security threat. Okay. What do you guys think on its face? We'll continue working through this, but what do you guys think about TikTok as a whole and whether or not it should be banned in the United States?
I mean, I don't like TikTok. I mean, just as an app that people use, I don't particularly like it, and I don't think it's necessarily good for people to, fall down that endless scroll. I don't really know the ramifications of like what kind of privacy concerns there are, I guess. Like what kind of privacy concerns they found through this. So I can't really speak on that. But yeah, that's my opinion. If TikTok gets banned, all there is going to be is like a new app that replaces it, which is basically every other app already exists is doing what TikTok's doing as well.
Yeah, but they don't have the same user agreement and they're not stealing as much information.
That's true. So,
and the general idea is that the government in China has their hands in private businesses a lot more than the US does.
Right. So the government itself would be getting that information.
Yeah. And also, just to note, like most social media apps that are American made are totally banned in China. So it's like they're making money off us, but we're not allowed to make money off them because they can't have control over what someone sees whenever they go on these social media apps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they have control over what someone else sees whenever they log in. So you can
Right.
basically like, you know, if you put your tinfoil hat on, the idea is it could get really bad, and they could basically try to like brainwash the youth or whatever with certain ideas and ideologies, and etc.
I mean, based on that information, I feel like I'd be for it, especially since it wouldn't be banning necessarily that kind of application. It's more about the kind of information that's being, transferred to foreign powers. So that would be my thoughts on it. But yeah, Sid, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like I'm not like educated enough on the details of the privacy concerns of it. I do use it a lot more than I should. I am trying to cut down on it because once I like get sucked into that hole, I will just be wasting away time on that app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good. But
Yeah, and that's not TikTok specific either. That would just be like
yeah.
social media. Like I'll fall in the same trap with stuff like Instagram, right? Which they do the
Hmm.
Instagram reels, and it's a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Um, falling down the what's his name, Nasso, the dude that we were watching last week,
Oh,
Yeah,
last week's
Austin
episode.
Nasso.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Austin
yeah,
Nasso.
dude. He's fucking
Those videos are
funny.
so funny. Um, but I don't think those applications, like while they have those harmful impacts, I don't know. I typically have a, uh, you know, I did think the government shouldn't do very much in terms of regulating things. Generally speaking, is my position. So as far as taking that position on like, well, it's not good for kids, so ban it. Like I wouldn't take that position. But if there's like security concerns of like foreign powers, then that changes the conversation, changes the landscape.
Well, what
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but you're saying you don't want like the government's hand in a bunch of things. But that's the crux of the, or not the crux. That's like the main part of this argument is that the Chinese government has a lot of
Well,
their
that's what I'm
hand
saying.
in this app.
That's why I'm saying I think I would be much more open to that being a thing because it would be stopping other higher powers from having that kind of information.
There's a security reason I feel like with that than and I feel like that I would be more open to that
Just like the ethical
than
use of it.
yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, so
I mean, what do you
let's
think?
see. Well, let me finish reading and then I'll unshare my screen so I can be back on the chat. But
I
I saw one part I wanted to read. I fucking lost it. Lawmakers said at the time that their bill aimed to protect Americans from foreign adversaries who might be able to use social media to surveil Americans, learn sensitive data about them, and spread influence campaigns and propaganda. So that's like that paragraph right there is the big thing that they're worried about. So yeah. All right, let me unshare and I'll say my thoughts. Where am I? There I am. Okay. They're not banning it because it's short form content. Like the
Right.
short form, like reels and shorts and all that. I don't think it's good for the like human brain. That said, um, I think that's just a product of capitalism and them just trying to pull your eyeballs more toward them because there's so much money in marketing and advertising.
Well, it's the same thing with like
So
sugar, right? Like I don't think people should be taking in as much sugar as they're taking in. But I don't think that means there should be like a government ban on it. I think people eventually
yeah,
vote with their
I
dollar rather.
I think yes. I don't know. I think as human beings, it's important to like learn how to navigate the issues that we deal with, and they're going to change on a probably ever accelerating rate. And one of those issues right now is like we're being trained to have really short attention spans. And we're being trained to take things at face value and not actually analyze them at all. And just assume that literally like the news on TikTok is real, or that some random person who knows literally nothing, that has no credentials, that knows nothing about anything, just makes a video about the housing market. And for some reason, it's like true and correct and they're right. It's like, well, maybe not. But the security reasons I think is reason enough to at least try to ban it, or like Apple and Android are the main two operating systems, right? That TikTok would be downloaded on. Could they do something about this before the government gets involved? Like, is it not an issue to them that there's an app that's on there? Those are other private companies. They can choose to say, we don't want this app on our app store anymore. Like, you can't have it on Apple devices because of security threats.
Especially Apple, like, I don't know much about Android, but like the Apple vetting process to get an app on the App Store is like really intense. Like it costs a decent amount of money, and they have to go through like a series of checks. Yeah, I'm sure you have to like, register the app and a bunch of different things before they can actually approve it. Like you have to go through a whole vetting process. You can't just like go in and just like upload your code and it's suddenly on the App Store. So I'm sure they could take it off the App Store before any of this happens.
Yeah, I just don't see if these Apple says all the time, at least their whole ad campaign over the last multiple years has been like, oh, Apple privacy, feel good about your data. Wait, what about the apps that you're using on an Apple device? Like, are they just saying, we're not responsible for that? Figure it out yourself, read the user agreement. Who reads the user agreement? Less than 1%.
I don't read
less than
1%, like ever.
Like, even if people did read the user agreement, most of them are worded in such a way, it's so like legal jargon that they're not going to understand half the words anyway.
Yeah.
And it would take them like months to fully like actually understand what's being said in some of these user agreements. So you don't even know what you're consenting to, even if you were to read it, because of how it's worded. And then they get updated all the time, and they're like, hey, updated terms of use, accept. And you're like, yeah, whatever, fucking, I want to see some funny videos. Like, I don't know. I just wish that the private companies that are hosting the app, like, why don't they agree with the government, number one? And if they do agree, why aren't they doing something about it? I just wish it was handled privately, personally.
I mean, yeah, I would prefer it that way too.
Yeah.
It said it was a $1.7 billion. It's part of a $1.7 billion bill. Do we really need to spend $1.7 billion for this? Like, we don't need to spend all that money on banning TikTok.
That's nonsense. I feel like the reason that it's, I don't know, I think it's because there's like a country aspect to it that maybe it puts Apple in a weird position, because then Apple's like confronted with the question, do they hide it from every country that's not China? Or do they hide it from just the US? Do they publish it at all? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they have to know more about the like what's going on in the app. And I don't know, like if this legislation goes through, then it would be on Apple to figure out like, how am I going to release this to other parts of the world that's not the US? Which people have done that before, but like, yeah, I don't know. Anything that's like related to privacy and like Apple devices, anytime Apple's been put in that position, they've always, like, without a doubt, like, I'm pretty sure there was that story of, I don't know, there was something on somebody's locked phone that had to do with some big event. That's the most vague thing I just said, but and I can't remember what it was, but basically, like, law enforcement was trying to get in this phone, and they were telling Apple to open it, and Apple was like, absolutely not, we would never do that. You know what I mean? Like, they would be able to do it, but they still wouldn't do it, just because that's how they're principled. But like,
but supposedly they're opening their phone. Yeah, but supposedly they're opening their phone through the back door of this
internally
app. Yeah, by saying, like, they're sharing like their personal email addresses with this, their phone numbers, their address. Like, isn't that that's more of a security concern than giving someone's iPhone password to police who need to try to solve a murder or something?
Yeah.
Like, that's way less of a security risk. Like, that's going to actually help somebody, probably.
Right.
Like, what's this going to help other than putting like children at risk and potentially putting like suspect things in front of their eyes?
Yeah, that's true.
I think this is like a symptom to a greater problem, and it's like people are just scared that their kids are being raised by social media, which means their kids are being raised by the most clicked, the most liked, the most oh shit, what's the word? Like novel, the most novel thing. I think that's the real concern that this guy has. But he's like, well, might as well take one of them down, make a point, you know.
Sure. So
And I think the security concerns are like a way to make the bill sound a little bit.
okay, so you think his actual motive has to do with what me and Sid were talking about, which is like the application, like social media's impact on the brain
Yeah,
for like kids.
algorithmic social media on the brain. Yeah, algorithmic effects of yes.
I mean, that makes sense for a tactic, right? Because the government tried to do the same shit with Twitter and it didn't really work. Like trying to control what's happening on Twitter because they were afraid of what's getting in people's heads, but it didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with what Sean said, where it's like if you ban like just TikTok, something else is just gonna crop up in its place. Like I feel like before TikTok there was something I guess there was Vine, I guess, but there's always gonna be like more short form content out there.
Which is fine. I it really depends on what this person's motive is. But yeah, the
Yeah.
privacy thing is not that's worrisome. That would be more worrisome to me and worth the conversation. But yes, I agree with
just
you,
feel like
Austin. I wish it was done privately. I wish there was more incentive for Apple to be able to just handle it rather than some like higher power using an obnoxious amount of tax dollars for no reason to try to enforce something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe it just seems to me like, why is the US government the only ones that are worried about the privacy concerns? They're normally the last ones to realize things. Like they're normally not the first ones.
That's
So it's just a little suspicious to me that the private companies that are hosting the app aren't saying anything about it. Like I haven't seen any statements from Apple like, yeah, we've seen some issues and we've told them to update their user agreements or update the way that they pull data, or else we're going to take them out. Like that hasn't been said.
Yeah.
At least not publicly. I feel like Apple would say that publicly, given the fact that there's this huge news cycle about TikTok being banned. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Them
surprised
banning
nobody
it on
asked them for a
government
statement.
devices makes a lot of sense to me.
On government
If there are
devices?
true security concerns, because if you have if you're a senator and you have a phone given to you by the government and you're talking about a bill that might be passed, or you're talking about some like country to country conflict, like some serious shit that should be behind doors, and then the Chinese government's just getting fed all of that, and they're like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, because you're
Now we
watching
know how to
silly videos on
sabotage
TikTok.
them. Yes, literally.
It's
Yeah,
pretty funny
because
to
a
think
senator is
about.
like watching TikTok videos while he takes a
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's just like,
that's tough, man.
yeah, it is tough. Anyway,
it's pretty crazy how willing people are. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but like when people talk about privacy and it's like, oh, like people are going to be able to see your address or your phone number if you download this app, and people will be like, well, they already have it anyway. Like that kind of mentality. Have you heard people say stuff like that? I don't like that. Like, yes, probably, but that's so defeatist and like not the point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's because they're not confronted with what giving up your privacy means. You know what I mean? Because you're so used to like this lifestyle that you don't really understand like the ramifications of some higher power that has power over you having your data. I don't know.
And potentially trying to control you based on it.
Yeah, without you even knowing it.
Yikes.
I don't know. It's crazy because it's so easy to collect data, like especially going through like a cybersecurity track in school. So easy to hack things, way easier than people think it is. Like it takes very small amount of code to blow, like not literally blow up, but like blow up the traffic on a web server, right? Like it doesn't take much. I don't know. It's interesting.
You guys think the world is a more violent place today than it was 20 years ago?
20 years ago?
I just threw out a random number.
I mean, 20 years ago, it's probably just as violent as it was 20 years ago.
20 20 years ago is a long time. 2003.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
it depends on what you mean by violent.
I mean, violence,
Like physical violence.
just violence.
All right.
I feel like I feel like maybe, yeah. I feel like a lot of stuff has happened that has led a lot of people to just be desensitized to violence, and I feel like that just normalizes it in a lot of like media and stuff. That's
Do
how
you
I
think
feel
it's
about it.
just more publicized though? In
That is
terms
a
of
good point.
in terms of total media, there's definitely more total
Yeah,
media now because all the same legacy media that was around in 2003 is still around. All the same type of blogs, but probably 100 plus X the amount of blogs exist now, plus YouTube, plus all the social media platforms, which like none existed in 2003. So like everyone's a reporter basically, and everyone can break a news story, whether it
that
be
is
good
true.
or bad or violent or peaceful or whatever. And I definitely do think that the violent stories like take our attention a lot more. Dude, we were just talking about this in the last episode a little bit, Sean. Or was this 2 episodes ago? I can't remember.
I think it was
How
the
like
last one.
there's certain things that like people think is too far where you don't even hear about it. Like things that are in like third world countries that like are real issues that we could
Yeah, because
actually
we were talking
spend
we
our resources on wisely.
we were talking about the attention span that the media
Yeah.
has and how it's like it will easily jump from one thing to the other. But like the thing with Ukraine, that's still going on. You know what I mean? And no one's talking about it as much as they were the week that it started. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
even beyond that, there's like, wars and genocides that are happening all the time that nobody is aware of and nobody's talking about.
Slavery and cobalt mines and
Yeah.
lithium mines. Yeah. It's bad, man. But it's like the headline that gets the press is like, I don't want to say like specifics. I don't want to say the specific headlines because I don't like them. I don't like to like think about them. But you know, this horrible thing happened in this city and this many people were affected by it. Or this plane crashed in this city or country and this many people were affected by it. And then like we were talking about last week, what about the hundreds of thousands over the last few years that have died to genocide, in Rwanda? It's like,
Yeah.
why are we not fucking talking about it? I don't know.
Yeah.
It just frustrates me.
It's interesting that at a
To answer
point they
the
make a decision, of what to
yeah,
publish, and that's the decision they made.
I think that the world is probably more violent today though than it was 20 years ago. And I know that my perception is all that I have, but I do perceive it that way. Like I feel like people are like more
I feel like
knee-jerk decisions
I was
type.
about to say, I think it's maybe not violent in like the physical sense, but it's more hostile. I think people are more hostile than they were 20 years ago.
But wouldn't you think that that would be the precursor to violence,
Sure.
hostility?
Sure. But I don't necessarily think that there's more violence today than there was 20 years ago. You know what I mean? As far as physical like altercation goes. I think more people are more likely to say hateful things behind a computer screen today, than they were 20 years ago. You know what I mean? But it's more
Definitely.
negativity and hostility in that format.
Do you think that I think the youth is more violent than they were.
I mean, you would probably know more, know better
Yeah.
than
I mean, I
all of
don't have
us. You see a
I don't have
generational
direct evidence
shift,
for that.
every year, which
Sure,
is
I don't
actually
have
probably
direct evidence
interesting.
for that though.
Sure.
I just am saying like maybe I shouldn't say violent. We should probably change the word. I definitely think there's a lot more people dealing with a lot more things that they don't know how to deal with now than there were like when I was in high school even, which was not 20 years ago. And like I had friends and classmates who were dealing with shit, but they weren't dealing with I don't know, man, like body image issues and all that type of stuff was like so much less common, I feel like. And social media has definitely changed that for sure. But then if I one, two, skip a few down a rabbit hole, when people start to resent themselves, they don't have any more, I don't know, their morals start to disappear kind of. Because it's like, well, what, I don't even like myself. Like I hate myself, so why would I love others? And if I hate myself, then why would I care about what happens to me? And if I don't care about what happens to me, why would I not want to hurt other people? You know what I mean? Like I can see this, I know that's some mental gymnastics kind of that I'm playing there, but in general, more unhappy thoughts and more unhappy people would lead to less positive outcomes in all the outcomes that exist. You know,
Yeah.
there are also more outcomes that can exist now because there are more people. So that's a note as well. There's literally more people on the earth than there were 20 years ago. So there are actually more outcomes that could possibly happen because there's more people and more interactions.
It's true. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more negative thought loops
Yeah,
than there
I
were
think so too.
20 years ago. I mean, I was 20 years ago, so.
I was not born yet 20 years ago, so
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's so wild, bro.
Oh man, that's funny.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I would agree with basically everything that you said. Unfortunately, that I agree with you.
That's
But
definitely unfortunate.
um,
All right, well, let me tell
it
a
makes
story.
sense. Okay.
Let's get off the social media stuff. We kind of went down that for a while. All right. You know what a dishwasher? No, not dishwasher. Garbage disposal. You know, like what a garbage disposal is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
you put shit down there and then you turn the
Yep.
switch on and okay, yeah, yeah. Anyway, some people don't have them. So, I've been in houses that didn't have them before. I didn't realize that some houses didn't have them. Anyway, ours broke yesterday. So we were cooking a bunch of different food, prepping a few meals for different things. And what the hell happened? Oh, we opened the uh, cabinet, opened the cabinet underneath the sink, and we're
Yeah.
like, oh man, it's leaking. That's super unfortunate. What's it leaking from? So I look up in there and I was like, oh man, it's coming out of the bottom of the garbage disposal. That's not correct. So I was just like, well, I guess that's broken because we turn the water on again and ran the garbage disposal. It's just it's dripping out. So couldn't use a sink, had to put a bucket under it. But two things about it. Number one, I just went on Amazon, looked up the fucking part number. It was here in the morning at 7 o'clock.
Oh, nice.
And then yeah, I took out the old one, installed the new one, and now we have a new garbage disposal. And I don't have my HomeBiotic up here
I
because I moved
fucking
it
knew
to
it. I knew it.
spray.
I called it. Knew
A
it.
little bit of
Could
water.
see that a mile away.
A little bit of water got on the bottom of the cabinet, right? And we don't want water sitting anywhere in the house because if the water's sitting somewhere, then we're probably gonna have a little bit of mold in there. We definitely don't want mold in the house. So cleaned it up, dried it up, and then got another towel, dried it up again, hit it with some HomeBiotic, and did that yesterday. Did that today. And I hit the inside of the new garbage disposal with some HomeBiotic and those little couplings around, all the PVC pipes to do all the water stuff. So if you have any issues with water in your house or think you might, because you definitely will at some point if you own a house or an apartment, you should go to the link in the description and get yourself some HomeBiotic.
You reminded me. You reminded me to get some because I actually thought about doing that because the other day, so my in my apartment, there's a washer and dryer behind these two doors. It's like a closet almost. You open it up and they're right there. But it's such a small room, and whenever you let the washer go, the room gets really damp because it's such a small, really contained room, and you usually close the door while it's washing. So I opened it up and I was like, man, it's really damp. And I was looking on the floor and it was pretty damp back there, and I was like, I should put some HomeBiotic in this room. I feel like that would be
You should.
I feel like that would be
You
really
should.
good. So I thought about buying it and I forgot it. I'm gonna write it down. Write it down right
Write
now.
it down. Write it down. Your best friends. Okay. We got a link in the description for some HomeBiotic. Get yourself some HomeBiotic. We also have a friend who may be listening right now who is asking me about blue light blocking glasses. So if you look at a computer screen for work or school, or you look at your phone before you go to bed, you should probably have some blue light blocking glasses. Do you have any, Sid? Do you have any blue light blocking
I
glasses?
do not. I do
Oh,
not.
dude, they're a game changer. They're a game changer. Even if it's not for sleep purposes, and even if it's not to like help fix your circadian rhythm, just to like have something to shield your eyeballs. It's like sunscreen for your eyes, even though I don't really like sunscreen, but it's like sunscreen for your eyes while you're looking at a computer screen. It helps so much. Sean, what are those?
Yo, these are my TrueDark Twilights. Yeah, go get yourself a pair of blue blockers in the description from TrueDark.
Why do you wear blue blockers? Tell us.
I wear blue blockers for a number of reasons. I mean, the first thing, so I have a lighter pair of blue blockers that I wear in the most evenings and sometimes during the day as well. I am a software engineer. I sit and look at the computer literally all day. So whenever I like start to feel a headache, usually what I do first actually is drink some water and eat some salt. But then the next thing I do is put on some blue blockers because usually I've been staring at a screen for multiple hours and I'm like, oh god, eye strain. So, and it usually like helps immediately. So if you're somebody who looks at screens all day, that's one reason to get them. The other reason is it jumpstarts your circadian rhythm, gets your body to produce melatonin a little bit more naturally at the time that you want it to produce melatonin right before bed. So that's why I wear them. I love them. Go check them out. There's a link in the description.
Nice. He's gonna fall asleep if he keeps wearing them right now.
Dude, swear to Jesus, like I was there was a period of time where I was like kind of skeptical about the blue blockers thing. These like really dark ones, if you're skeptical about them, wear the really dark ones for like 30 minutes, knocks you out. Swear to God, I was like, I don't know. I was like, dang, I was not prepared for how tired I was going to be after wearing them for 30 minutes. So
It is super wild. You won't know what color things are though.
that's true. Don't do
I've
like design
just-
work wearing them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also just looked at something. So we went to the store and got some stuff, and then Kendall was like, "Oh, look at this packaging." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." It was gray. Okay, it was gray. I was convinced it was gray because I had my blue light blocking glasses on. I was like brushing my teeth. I was like, "Yeah, that looks super cool." Today, this morning, I looked at the exact same thing with the exact same packaging, and I was like, "Dude, that is so blue. That is extremely not gray." If you put me on a lie detector and said, "What is this? Is this gray?" I would have been like, "Yes, it's gray." It was so blue. They're crazy. Like they change. They block out blue light, obviously. Anyway, very interesting. So it kind of broke my brain this morning. I was like, "Damn, that's so blue."
Super random. I was talking to somebody the other day. Let me back up. There was a couple years ago where I had like this shirt that I was like, this is a gray shirt. And like I wore it one day and I wore something else underneath it. It was like a button down. And I was like, yeah, this would look good. And my friend was like, why are you wearing a green shirt with an orange shirt? And I was like, what? And I was like, this is not green, dude. And he's like, dude, that's green. I was like, this is gray. And then a couple days ago, I was wearing what I thought were blue sweatpants, and somebody told me that they were gray, and I was like, this is like light blue. So I think I might be colorblind to an extent. So that's new information to me. But anyway.
Dude, you guys ever noticed like certain shirts will look a certain color in certain lighting, and then you go to a different room and it looks like.
Oh
You
yeah.
ever notice that? Dude, that always
It's
breaks my
trippy.
brain.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Like
those? Sorry, go ahead.
No. What you got?
I was gonna say, do you remember the like black and blue dress
Oh,
and the white and gold
dude.
dress where people
Gold
were
stuff.
like, they were like arguing about what color the dress was?
That was crazy. Did you guys ever get to see the other side? Were you able to see both different colors?
Oh yeah.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
it was a lighting. Yeah, I think it was a
Yeah,
lighting
like people
thing.
would change the contrast, I
Yeah.
feel like.
No, like on the same picture, I could go to my camera roll. I could look at something like I can't remember, dude. This was so long ago. I could like look at something blue, let's say, and I would just like look at it for like a while until it was like fucking burned in my retina, and then I would scroll back to the camera roll and I'd be like, "Oh, it's black and gold," and then I'd go back and I'd be like, "Dude, it's black and gold." Yeah,
That's fine.
I
No,
feel
that was
like
just
I feel
me
like
changing
once
it.
I see it, as one color, I'm like, I'm never going to be able to see that exact same image as the other color unless someone like does something with the lighting to it.
Yeah. Have you seen the Vans, like the one with the Vans as well, where they're like blue, like gray and
I
teal, and
don't
then they
think
were like
so.
pink and gray or something?
Nah,
It's crazy. I probably still have them on my camera roll from like 2011.
those ones are so weird. It's like
Yeah,
it's
they
like
are weird.
the picture of like the chalice, but it's also like the two faces looking at each other.
Oh
Yeah.
Those
yeah,
optical illusions.
classic.
Yeah.
You like zoom yourself out, and you're like, whoa.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Oh
those are
man.
great. All right, Sean. No, fuck you, Sean. All right, Sid. If you had to go back to your younger self, you can choose whatever time period you would go back to, but if you had to choose a time period for your younger self to go back and like sit down for a while and tell your younger self, like, hey, here, this, and this. You don't have to do three things. You can do as many as you want or as few as you want. Just what would you tell yourself?
I got a few things. I'd probably tell my high school self to be more involved with music sooner. And I talked about that a little bit more beginning of this episode, but right now I'm in a spot where I really appreciate and just love playing music, listening to music, all that. And I started playing piano when I was in like third grade. But I feel like I didn't really appreciate how I didn't really appreciate it as much as I should have back then with the amount of time I had in front of me to keep doing it.
It's fair. It's hard to like see that as a
Yeah.
youngster. Yeah.
And then also I feel like I would go back and tell like maybe middle school me, like consciously appreciate really good moments in your life. Like I feel like when stuff sucks in life, I'm like, man, I really wish that things were like this moment where things were great, or like I wish that I had like in that moment, I wish I had thought, oh man, like things are going good. I really appreciate this right now. So yeah, just appreciating when things are good.
I like that.
Damn. Some good shit.
That's some good shit.
You ever seen that fucking TikTok? Speaking of TikTok, where the guy like asks people like, "What do you do for a living?" And then they say what they do, and he's like, "That's what's up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen
It's
that one.
so funny, dude. And
That's
like,
so
no
good.
matter what they say, he's like, "That's what's
That's
up."
what's up.
Like he doesn't respond any other way. That's it.
Yeah.
It's
I
great.
like the one. I like there's one of them where he like goes up and he asks somebody, he's like, "What do you do for a living?" The guy like stops and he's like thinking for a second. He looks at him. He's like, "You're looking at it, baby." And he's like, "That's what's up."
That's
So
what's
good.
up.
That's what's up.
There's somewhere he gets like shaken a little bit, and he like tries to say but laughs. It's good. It's good. Classic. All right,
Amazing.
Sean, what would you tell yourself if you went back to a few different time periods?
I would tell myself, a a balance is better than going hard on one thing or the other. So like to be a little bit more like specific, when I was a little bit younger, I went really hard on like trying to be regimented and like scheduled. And I think that was a fault to a point. And I think some people can say that they were probably went the other way where they weren't regimented at all. I would go back and tell myself like, hey, it's okay to have, flexibility, it's okay to not to let yourself like be loose a little bit and allow for spontaneity, because if you don't allow yourself to happen, you're not going to be an adaptable person and just like ultimately not happy. So that's something that I would tell myself. That's one thing that I would tell myself. And the other thing I would tell myself is that what happened in the past happened and it doesn't matter anymore, you know? Because I feel like I'm generally a pretty nostalgic person. Whenever I listen to music, I feel like I get brought back to like, certain times in my life that made me particularly happy or particularly sad. And then I get emotional about those times. And it's like, I don't know, if I could go back and tell myself something, one of the things that I would tell myself would just be like, whatever happened in the past happened. No reason to, you know, It's like what Sid said, like appreciate the good times, but don't sit so hard on the things that, you're not necessarily proud of or anything like that.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Yeah, shit doesn't exist anymore after it happens.
Exactly.
And we feel like it's like I feel like it still matters and it's still out there, but it's not out there. It isn't. Man, yeah, I wish I would have fucking like realized that way sooner. Like it literally does not fucking matter.
It's on the flip side too, like the future, like that never existed, and whatever is story is being told in your brain probably will never exist. You know what I mean? Like it's a 99% chance what you're thinking in your brain is not gonna, come to reality.
I do think that as it relates to the future, I think you can you guys know what manifestation is? Like true, like where it
Sure.
really
Yeah.
yeah, like so the idea, just for anyone that doesn't, if I want to achieve something and I feel as though in a 5 year span I should be able to achieve this thing and I set my sights on it, I set my goals on it. My actions, assuming I think about that end goal on a very, very, very regular basis, my actions are going to end up molding around that thing, which is me just beginning with the end in mind and then going backwards in time to where I am today. And then I can basically watch these events play out and then I'll arrive somewhere 5 years from then. It's never going to look exactly how you pictured it in your head, probably. But it'll be a form of that. And I just think that that's happening all the time, whether we believe it or not. What we thought was going to occur and what we dreamed about and what we wanted to achieve. Man, I'll just use myself as an example. Like for so many years, I was like, I just want to fucking like help people and like make a change, but I want to make like this big change. I want to like a big impact. And I would kind of like view it as this grand, like I don't know, like in my head, it would be like this like I don't know, big situation where I'm like helping people all at one time and they're like, oh, this is like, and everyone's like getting better at things and like happier, like smarter, and like less stressed. But in reality, now I'm just like, I just fucking like teach people and like mentor people. And it's like, I'm literally doing the thing that I wanted to do. It just didn't take the form that I pictured it in my head, which was a fake form. Like it isn't the exact same form, and it comes in many forms on different days and different months and different weeks. Anyway, I don't know how I even got to that moment where I was speaking about that. I have no idea. What
So
were
I
we
was
talking
talking, I
about?
was talking about the future, like
Oh yeah.
putting too much
Anyway,
too much effort
Yeah.
on the future.
sorry. Didn't mean to hijack your fucking advice to your younger self.
Nah. But yeah, that's what that's probably the advice that I would give. I'm sure there's more, but those are the two that
Yeah.
definitely came to the top of my head when I was first asked. So, Austin, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
I'm gonna give both of them to my high school self. Number one, uh, the anger. Like I was like angry. Like I would get angry like a lot. That was my typical mode. Like some people like kind of fall into depression. Some people kind of fall into anxiety. Some people kind of fall into like I don't know, sadness easily. Like the thing I fell into easily was like fiery, like anger, and not like frustration. Like truly angry. I would just tell myself that the anger that I'm feeling, that I think is toward other people and toward situations, is not toward other people and situations. I'm just casting it upon those situations and those people, and it's an inner battle that something is not at peace within me, and I need to figure that out. And I just didn't understand that and didn't know that for a very fucking long time. So,
Yeah.
wish someone told me that sooner. That it's like, yeah, man, that's your reality that you're creating, and you it's not your surroundings that are making you mad. It's not your situations and your circumstances, and it's not the people around you that are making you mad. It's you. Just wish I would have known that earlier.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that the food you eat affects how you feel.
That's
That would
something
be the
else I
other
would
one.
say too. Yeah.
Like just like every other kid in America probably. I ate like shit. Like I would just fucking eat whatever was tasty. Like I didn't give a fuck. And I would have felt a lot better a lot sooner if I would have had someone be like, hey man, probably don't do this that much. And probably don't do this that much. And probably do a lot more of this. I think that would be some fucking valuable advice. Could have avoided a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That shit is so much more. That's like my default. Like whenever I start to feel that like really anxious for whatever reason or like depressed for whatever reason, that my default is to like, did I eat enough today or did I eat too much today or what did I eat today? Am I drinking enough water? Did I sleep well last night?
Yeah.
Sleep in particular, dude. If I get like, barely any sleep, the next day I'm like in a mood. Like I'm not, I'm not feeling particularly great. And it's just like getting like a little bit more on edge. Maybe not mood, but like just more on edge, you know. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I feel like I've talked to some of my college friends about this, but it's very interesting to be able to like see the visible change in like my sleeping and my behavior and stuff when I go home, like for a break or something, and I'm not eating like ramen and pizza for every meal, and I'm like eating actual like meals that my parents are making and stuff. It's very interesting to see like the visible mood change.
It's pretty wild, man. Yeah. And it's like I could be like happier and more vibrant and like feel better just by
Oh
eating
yeah.
better. Like that's crazy. Yeah.
Let's go to a
It's like
tangent, but like the college, like I don't know how it is at App, but like when I was a freshman, dude, they told us that we had to live on campus, and two, you had to buy a meal plan. And
Yeah.
the meal plan was like you had to go through, so like you were stuck on campus and you had to go to the dining halls, and the dining halls were just the worst food on the planet. And if they did provide healthy food, it was like broccoli that if you stuck a fork in it, it turned into soup. Like it was disgusting. It was so gross.
Oh my
I
God.
was like, if I want to enjoy like any bit of life at all, I'm gonna have to eat the pizza because that's the only thing hot and ready and fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fuck 55% of all my classes, if not more. So oh my god. Yeah, it's
Like that's where the freshman 15 comes from, man. It's not from like, a kid learning how to live. It's no, the school being like,
It's
this is what
literally
you're
just
eating now.
eating awful for like a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, the best option is like sugar-filled yogurt. That's the best option.
Yeah.
How much sugar-filled yogurt can you really eat?
I will say the breakfast at the dining halls I went to was pretty sick. They would do like omelets made to order, and you could like throw like some
That's
veggies
dope.
in there. So that was nice. But like dinner,
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
But like lunch and dinner was a shit show. I don't know. I saw people eating like dinner, and their dinner was like, the Reese's Puffs from the like cereal dispenser because they were just like, it's that kind of night, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen some silly shit before.
Yeah.
Well,
So I'm fortunate it's not Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Call back to our first top 3.
dude, what do you think the best cereal ever is, Sid?
Probably Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I'm
a Cinnamon Toast
good.
Crunch guy.
Objectively
And
the best.
the milk after, oh my God.
I'm not a milk in the
good.
cereal kind of guy. I don't know if I mentioned it. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Really depends
That's
on the
crazy.
cereal for me.
I'm a maniac. I just like the dry ass,
Just
crunchy
dry
ass
cereal?
cereal. I like the
Oh,
crunch.
wait.
I like the crunch, man.
I didn't realize that's what I thought we were talking about. Like if you drank the milk after, I didn't
Oh, no,
realize
no,
you're
I don't
sending
put-
you
no,
like
no,
full
no, no,
fist
no.
into the
Eats
box.
Just dry cereal.
Yes, fist into the box. That's the best,
That's
dude.
fair.
It's basically okay. So you know how you like don't put milk in Cheez-Its or wheat thins?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's
It's
I
just
do
like
know how
that.
you don't do that.
But Cinnamon Toast Crunch is like 3x as good as Cheez-Its and wheat thins. So it's like the same thing, but you just put and you can grab more of them and then you just shove them in your mouth.
I mean,
I guess.
I guess.
I mean, all right. I guess.
I guess the logic's there. I'm with
Hard
it.
to argue with, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not here to say I wouldn't do that. Like I've definitely eaten Cinnamon Toast Crunch dry and like Reese's Puffs and like, all that stuff.
What'd you say?
Reese's Puffs and all that stuff.
Reese's.
Yeah.
Reese's.
Reese's.
Wait,
I said I feel like I alternate between them.
Reese's Puffs.
Reese's.
Reese's
Reese's.
Puffs.
Reese's Pieces.
Reese's.
So funny, bro.
Reese's Pieces.
Like, why did it become that?
I don't know. I
Holy
don't know.
shit,
My
dude.
brain wants to say that when I say it really quickly. What's the
Reese's
best?
Pieces.
What's the best popcorn snack? Or sorry, fuck. I meant the best. I meant the best movie theater snack. That's what I meant to
Oh,
say.
okay.
Well, I know Sean's answer.
Yeah, clearly.
I actually don't know if that's my
Oh
favorite.
god. All right, best movie theater snack.
Yeah.
I don't know if
This
this
includes
is.
things that you can sneak in. Like you're
I
going
mean,
to the
does it
movie
have
theater.
to be specific to the movie theater?
I mean, I guess where else? Do you just want to know if I'm asking you what your favorite snack is?
That's what it
Just
seems
mean
like.
for a
Yeah.
movie.
I have to eat it during the movie. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like I'm saying, like if you went to a movie theater and like your options were popcorn and like sodas that are $5 for some reason and like M&Ms, like what are you choosing? Are you choosing from the candy bin? Or are you choosing popcorn with the
Okay.
extra butter?
I have to choose one only.
I mean, you can do a top 3 if you want.
I'll choose two that I would bring in.
All right,
Skittles and popcorn.
Skittles and popcorn. All right,
Yeah.
nice. I
I'm
would
doing
choose those.
I'm ranking my top 3. All
All
right.
right.
Popcorn and then Sour Patch and then Mike and
Oh man.
Ike's. Mike and
Mike and
Those
Ike's,
are
Ike's.
dude.
All
all
right.
very
Those are
respectable
so good.
picks.
Nice.
They are really, really good.
I like that.
I like Mike and Ike's more than I like Sour Patch Kids.
Nah, dude. Sour Patch Kids are better. I think Sour Patch
You can only
Kids
eat like 12 of them though.
Nah.
Not me.
Not me,
I will
yeah.
tear through like an entire family size bag of them.
Yeah.
If
I won't
if
be able to taste anything for like 2 days.
I will
but
feel awful afterwards,
Yeah.
but in the event that I wanted to, I could.
I love sour stuff. I haven't had Sour Patch Kids in a minute.
What do you think about sour Skittles?
Those are
I like
good.
sour
Those are
Skittles.
really good.
Have you ever had the fucking Halloween ones? They're like called Screechers. They're not.
Screechers?
Yeah, they're not
No.
like they're not coated with like extra sour sugar. They just have like probably more malic acid in them.
Mm,
So they're like really fucking sour when you eat them.
no, I haven't had those.
They're
How do you
good.
guys feel about Swedish Fish?
I like them. I like them.
They're not
I like them.
as good as Sour Patch Kids or Mike and Ike's, but I
I would
like
agree
them.
with that.
That's true.
I would agree with that. I like
They're not
those.
as good as Skittles.
Have you ever had those
for
snow
sure.
caps? They're like the little
It's been a
chocolate
minute, yeah.
chocolate like chocolate chips essentially with like little like white stuff on it. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. That stuff is really good. I used to get that at the movie theaters all the time. So I'd probably put that up there with popcorn.
Yo, how do you guys feel
I don't
about
know what my third would be.
mint things? Like
I
mint
love mint
flavored
things.
stuff. Yeah.
Love it.
I'm a mint guy.
Yeah.
I like
mint as
those
well.
like peppermint patties. Those are so good.
Oh
Yeah. What about Andy's candies? You ever had those?
Yeah.
Dude, my roommate literally has a bag of them back there. He loves those.
Yo, there's a company called Alter Eco that makes I don't know what they
We've talked
call
about
them.
these. They make the chocolate bars, right?
Yeah, they make chocolate bars, but they have these little I think you call them truffle thins and they're mint flavored. Dude. It's the best like chocolate bar I've ever eaten in my life. So good.
Dang.
Especially if you like mint. Like Andy's candies are classic and they're good, but it's like Andy's candies times like 3x. And it's like relatively healthy with like, coconut oil instead
It's
of
like
fucking
darker
soybean
chocolate too,
oil.
probably.
Yeah. It's so good, dude.
Nice.
Gotta try it.
Check that out. It's been a while since I've been to a Whole Foods. Should go to a Whole Foods soon. Gotta go.
I bet there's no Whole Foods on the app, bro.
Dude, there's nothing.
Y'all
There's
got
not even
an
a
Earth Fair,
Target.
right?
There's not a
I
Target.
think so. Yeah, there's not a Target in Boone. No Target.
Cringe.
No
Why?
Target.
That's a good question. I feel like there's too many people up here for there to not be a Target.
That's a good point. There's a lot of college kids that would go to that Target on a daily basis.
Boone's just generally like popping, like out even
Yeah.
like outside of app. Like there's a lot of traffic going on up in Boone.
Yeah. Dude, housing is such a pain in the ass.
Oh, I believe it.
I've been trying to find housing for next year, and oh my God,
Yeah,
it's not fun.
expensive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nice.
And it's not
Like
even
how
like
much?
it's like I've seen ones that are like 1,000 a month for rent.
Us?
And you're sharing it with somebody?
Yeah, like per person, 1,000 per person.
Dang,
Yeah,
it's pretty expensive.
And there's how many people? Probably like 4.
yeah, like 3 or 4 usually.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
not that great of an
Bonkers.
apartment either.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I'm sure it's not.
it's like it's not even like how expensive it is. It's like finding a place at all. Like there's so many people here, and it's such a small town that there's like it's I've been struggling trying to like find a place that will respond to me when I apply.
We found an apartment complex in Clemson that I was staying in for 2 years, and we're able to get rent per person about $400 each,
Oh my God.
which is
Wow.
ridiculous. It was so nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was into it. 4 people.
Dang. Pretty good.
Like it.
Well, anyway, anyone got any thoughts of the week? Thoughts of forever?
No thoughts.
Nothing's
None
been
at
on your
all.
mindset?
Nothing.
No thoughts.
I'm sure there's something.
Nothing that comes to my mind right now.
Okay, that's fair. Got a thought of the week, Sean?
No. Well, kinda. It's just a nugget that popped up in my brain this past weekend, and then also just like reappeared in my brain. I think it's important to fake it till you make it sometimes. I don't know if you agree with that statement, but I feel like
I definitely agree.
I feel like in times that like people are like doubting themselves, have an imposter syndrome, or like actually don't know what they're doing, like just fake it till you make it. And I think probably the biggest piece of not advice, but like the thing that I learned about being an adult is that we're all just figuring it out, you know. So everybody fakes it till they make it. And so I was thinking, yeah, I was thinking about people in my life that should think about that. So that would be my thought of the week would be, you know, I have to remind myself to fake it till I make it sometimes. That's all.
Makes sense. I got a thought of the week as well. Okay. My thought is about how important it is to like learn how to ask good questions. Yeah. And that like when you're helping someone else, all you have to do sometimes is like ask them certain questions in a certain order and prove to them that they already have the answer within themselves. It's like it happens so often in many different contexts throughout my life. I'm like, man, I know that this person like definitely can do this right now. So it's like, how many questions? And I just like try to like follow this like line path to like, oh well, there's their final answer that they definitely like know, or like the final thing that they need to like realize that they know. We just ask them this question. Yeah, easy money. All right. Based on that, what about this? Based on that, what about this? Based on that, what about this? I'm like, damn, look at that. You're a fucking genius.
I think it's funny that like it's super important to ask good questions, but like the way to get to the point where you're asking good questions is by asking just questions in general, and a lot of them are probably like bad questions, but people are so afraid to ask bad questions that they don't ask any question at all, so they don't know how to ask good questions. You know
Well,
what I mean?
give an explanation of a bad question.
I mean, arguably there isn't any bad questions if the person actually doesn't know the answer to the question. But I would say probably a bad question would be like something that was answered previously multiple times and the person just like wasn't paying attention to the answer to the question. But
Sure, but that's not necessarily a bad question.
right,
That's just that was bad something else. The
right,
question might still be valid.
right.
I think a bad what sorry, I should have defined what I meant as a good question. I think a good question is a question in which the answer you're going to get is the answer that you want. Like not like, oh, I already know what they're going to say, but asking a question to someone sometimes can lead them down like a long rabbit hole and then them not end up answering your question because of the nature of how you asked it or like the wording of the question.
I see. A good question
Or
gets you
they
to
just,
the answer in the least amount of steps
yeah,
possible.
like, yeah, it literally, it should be like very to the point, very distilled, not long winded. Let me just ask a very pinpointed question and get a very pinpointed answer. Like that's a good question. I think a bad question is one that to the person who's being asked the question, they're like, well, I can see like 56 different ways this goes. Anytime someone tells me that after I ask them a question, I'm like, fuck, I fucking asked a terrible question. Like I'm not gonna learn shit from this. I'm gonna understand how this person's brain works now, but that's not what I want right now. Like I need an answer to this question, you know? So when they're like, well, I see three different things on that, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, wait, let me do better. Let me ask a better question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. All right.
Shall
It
we
was
wrap it up?
Sid. First guest in like 20 episodes, man.
Yes. Yes. Super happy
It's a
to
lot.
have you.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
What's your
Awesome.
rating on a scale of 1 to 10? Now you've seen the behind the scenes and
Behind the scenes.
yeah. How was the prep work? We came in with our notes. We had our
Better than last week's prep work.
we were already showing the Google Drive with all the topics in there and the
Yeah,
script we
like
Yeah,
all
had,
of our
the
right?
script, the
Yeah.
script.
Yep. Yeah, we had a script for Sid. None of those thoughts were his own.
Yeah,
So
every word I said was written by Austin and Sean.
yes. I actually wrote one word and then Sean wrote the next one. So
Yeah.
it's
We take turns.
yeah.
Like word
On
by
writing
word.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like individual words.
So if anything made no sense that Sid said, it's really not his fault.
Yeah.
It's our fault.
It's more of a
And
fun
you can
game than
unsubscribe.
anything. It's just like what kind of story can we build by trading the
Yeah.
script. That's
Well,
funny.
and plot twist, Sid isn't even real. He's an AI created by ChatGPT.
Damn it. Chat GPT.
Can you believe it? We said create the coolest guy who could be a guest on our
Ah,
podcast.
shucks.
Ah,
Shucks.
Amazing.
All right, man. Well, I enjoyed it.
Yes,
Loved the
me too.
company and the conversation. It's been your best friends. It's Austin and
It's Sean, and
It's Sid.
we love you.
we love you. Oh no, my mouse died. Oh no, we're good. We're good.